All right, PR Web, you should see before you. Now I'm giving you a visual today. Um, I had said in previous times that sometimes I may do this. Um, Today definitely is October the 19th, the Sabbath, 2013. But what I want to do is I want to read from the London PR Web UK article because truth hits very hard and sometimes it's almost unacceptable. But let me go ahead and read to you um, ancient confession found. We've invented JC. Biblical scholars will be appearing at the Convert Messiah Conference at Conway Hall in London on 19th of October today to present this controversial discovery of the British public. Let me scroll down and I'm going to read a paragraph that was quite interesting um, for those who need to understand. Like the article says, yes, it will upset many, but it is what it is. Although to many scholars this theory seems outlandish and is sure to upset some believers, outright regards his evidence as conclusive and is confident its acceptance is only a matter of time. I present my work with some ambivalence as I do not want to directly cause Christians any harm. He acknowledges that this is important for our culture. Alert citizens need to know the truth about our past so we can understand how and why governments create false histories and false GODs. They often do it to obtain a social order that is against the best interests of the common people. Atwell asserts that Christianity did not really begin as a religion, but a sophisticated government project, a kind of propaganda exercise used to pacify the subjects of the Roman Empire. Jewish sects in Palestine at the time who were waiting for a prophesied warrior Mashiach, and we don't understand that concept because a lot of us have come out of Christianity and we only think the Mashiach is what the New Testament has stated that was fabricated. But anyway, we continue. Mashiach were a constant source of violent insurrection during the first century, he explains. When the Romans had exhausted conventional means of squashing rebellion, they switched to psychological warfare, and that's true even today. They surmised that the way to stop the spread of zealous Jewish, actually supposed to be Hebrew missionary activity, was to create a competing belief system. That's when the peaceful Messiah story was invented. And that's the oxymoron of the whole thing is the fact that a lot of people don't want to let go of JC because he seems so peaceful and there's so much hope that still that's to come in him when the hope hasn't came yet. But you know that's how the piper pipes the pipe to get the children to follow him. It's going to happen one day, just like the economic collapse. They keep pushing back, back and back. It's going to happen one day. Okay. Instead of inspiring warfare, this Messiah urged turn the other cheek, pacifism, and encouraged Jews to give unto Caesar and pay their taxes to Rome. Was JC based on a real person from history? The story is no, Atwell insists. In fact, he may be the only fictional character in literature whose entire life story can be traced to other sources. Once those sources are all laid bare, there's simply nothing left. Atwell's most intriguing discovery came to him while he was studying the Wars of the Jews by Josephus. And a lot of you know, y'all give high regards to Josephus. However, Josephus actually was a character name as well. The only surviving first person historical account of first century Judea alongside the New Testament. He says, I stated to notice a sequence of parallel between the two texts, he recounts. Although it's been recognized by Christian scholars for centuries that the prophecies of JC appeared to be fulfilled by what Josephus wrote about in the first Jewish-Roman War. I was seeing dozen more. What seems to have eluded many scholars is that the sequence of events and locations of JC ministry are more or less the same as the sequence of events and locations of the military campaign of the Emperor Titus Flavius as described by Josephus. This is clear evidence of a deliberately constructed pattern. Uh, the biography of JC is actually constructed tip to stern on prior stories, but especially on the biography of a Roman Caesar. Now, this is the thing I was saying too. Now, you can go to click on my name and go to my videos. I have other kind of videos out there, exposure videos and just information videos. And I do have a clip in regards to what Josephus did and how these parallels between the two texts are being explained.
The book Caesar's Messiah shows that the Gospels were written by a family of Roman Caesars called the Flavians. They created the Gospels as a political tool. They wanted to create a different version of Messianic Judaism. They had fought against a Messianic movement in Judea that was obviously militaristic and violently opposed to Roman rule. So the Gospels were created to replace that version of Messianic Judaism. The reason that the Romans wanted to create their own Savior Messiah is because they wanted to have a pacifistic Christ. The Christ that they were fighting against was a military Messiah. The storyline of Jesus is fiction. It was based upon a military campaign of a Roman Caesar named Titus Flavius. The reason that people have not recognized that the character Jesus Christ is fiction is simply because they haven't understood the genre that the Gospels were written in. The Gospels are, in fact, a Roman mockery of a kind of literature that the Jews produced in the first century. And this type of literature is referred to as typology. Typology is simply basing one character upon another, and it is found throughout Hebraic literature in the Old Testament to link one prophet to another prophet. At the very first page of the book of Matthew, the author has created a primer, a small example of the typology that's going to extend throughout all of the works. And what Matthew has done is he has taken stories from the Old Testament and placed them into his story of the pre-ministry of Jesus. He has taken names, locations, and concepts from the Old Testament, and he has woven them into his story of Christ. And he has placed them in the same sequence, so that when you compare one story to the other, the Old Testament with the New Testament, you can see that Moses is connected very directly to the character that Matthew is writing about, Jesus Christ. The reason that Moses was chosen as the archetype of Jesus is because he was the first savior of Israel. And so by connecting him to that particular prophet, you show that Jesus Christ is also a savior of Israel. And what's interesting is that this shows that the character Jesus Christ is fiction. The events in his life are not original historical episodes. They were simply taken from another book. Now, the same thing is true about the entire rest of Jesus' ministry. It is all taken from another book.
It's just the truth. May this article be good to you. You can continue to read the rest. there you have it. I hope this visual has been insightful to you. Thanks for watching my video. If the truth has resounded within you, click on more of my videos to hear the truth. The truth makes us free from any lie that has been established from above.